Believe it or not, bodybuilding is not all about hitting the gym and buffing up those muscles. If you want a body like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you need to get those body fat percentages down. Shockingly, a few people out there are so committed to the goal that they've managed to get their body fat down to 0. In today's video, we're going to be introducing you to these insane folks. So, buckle in. Number 10. DK Metcalf. Anyone following American football most definitely knows about DK Metcalf. It's hard to miss his 6'3" frame scoring touchdown after touchdown on the field. Metcalf was flexing those muscles back when he was in university. According to Sports Illustrated, the athlete was a shockingly low 1.6% body fat, but that statement was later disputed by Joe Defranco in 2019, who has provided his services as a personal trainer for many NFL players. According to him, body fat less than 2% is less impressive and more concerning. With that said, DK's body fat falls somewhere in the 4 to 10% bracket, which, mind you, is still lower than the average male. Number 9. Frank McGrath. If for some reason you want to study the distribution of blood vessels, then Frank McGrath is your guy. When the bodybuilder gets on stage and tenses his muscle, you can see the immense vascularity of the smallest of muscle fibers. He lives by the motto, "No vein, no gain," which might just explain why his skin looks like a roadmap. Obviously, one doesn't stand on stage like that without putting in some effort. To achieve his goals, Frank sticks to a high-protein diet so he can build muscles and avoid any kind of sugars that could potentially be stored as fat in the body. Not only that, but he drinks a gallon of water every day, which is twice the amount of the recommended daily intake. The result? A 5% body fat and jaw muscles that look like they could pick a fight. Number 8. Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman was called the king back when he was gracing stages in a thong, and it was not hard to see why. His 5'11" frame that weighed around 300 pounds more than warranted it. His insanely jacked up body earned him 8 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles. Ronnie ended up hanging up his thong in 2007, but he appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast in 2020, where he revealed that his body fat during his prime years was as low as 0.33%. That's ridiculously low. And so it wasn't long before the comment section of the video was swarmed with medical professionals and bodybuilders proving that Ronnie's figure was simply medically impossible. Even if the king's body fat wasn't 0.33, it was most definitely around the 3 to 4% range, which is once again astonishingly low. Number 7. Hamdullah Akutlu. Hamdullah Akutlu may not be the most successful of pro bodybuilders, but he definitely is the leanest amongst the fans on bodybuilding forums. Hamdullah is mostly known for his glutes, which the internet even nicknamed SpongeBob SquareCheeks. He competed in several pro bodybuilding competitions in the 90s and even came 17th at the Mr. Olympia in 1993. Hamdullah eventually ended up giving up his pro card to partake in amateur competitions in 1997, and to no one's surprise, he ended up dominating his rivals there as well. Hamdullah's retirement came in 2002, but fast forward to 2010, he was back on stage flaunting those muscles once again. And guess what? Even at 45 years old, he didn't look the tiniest bit out of shape. In fact, he ended up winning his division at the World Amateur Championships that year. Number 6. Gook Young Lee. If there's anyone who deserves to be crowned the boss of the body fat battle, it's Gook Young Lee, a South Korean fitness model who, believe it or not, set the Guinness World Record in 2018 by becoming the first person to maintain less than 4% body fat for more than 100 days. Even if there are bodybuilders who have hit that level like Young, they haven't been able to maintain it for long. Most can only manage it for a few days, but Lee here shocked everyone by maintaining that medically unhealthy level for more than 3 months. He did so by doing some intense workouts twice a day and sticking to a balanced diet. Most of all, he didn't turn to any enhancement drugs or supplements. So not only is he the leanest, but also the cleanest bodybuilder in the history of bodybuilding. Number 5. Helmut Strebel. Looking at Strebel's body, it's not hard to figure out why he's called the most shredded man in the world. The 53-year-old shows off a lean body with 4% body fat. That number is nothing short of impressive because typically, men aged 40 to 59 years support a body fat of 11 to 21%. With his exceptionally ripped body, Strebel has also been able to win a number of bodybuilding competitions from the 1990s to the 2010s. It's all thanks to his intense weekly workout plan and an incredibly strict 6-meal-a-day diet. For most of us, eating that many meals a day would have the opposite effect. But Helmut sticks to a low-fat and high-protein diet of egg whites, chicken, and basmati rice. Not the most appetizing of diets, but it does the trick. Number 4. Greg Kovacs. Greg Kovacs is what you call a real-life Hulk. The Canadian bodybuilder is the largest bodybuilder to date, with a frame of 6'4" supporting 440 pounds during the off-competition season. However, when it was time for him to put on that thong and flaunt his biceps on stage, he quickly got that number down to a shocking 330 pounds. At this point, his body fat will come down to a staggering 6%. Of course, maintaining that figure was out of the question since it was astonishingly low. Greg eventually ended up retiring, but that didn't mean he got smaller in size. In reality, he put on more weight, particularly fat, and showed everyone why they should never think about messing with him ever. Number 3. Rich Gaspari. Rich Gaspari might have just changed the course of bodybuilding competitions when he showed off his striated glutes back in 1986, becoming the first person ever to do so. He appeared on the Night of Champions, the 22-year-old's first ever pro event after a string of amateur competitions. Gaspari ended up stunning the audience when he turned around to show off his extremely ripped glutes. In fact, he earned the second position for it. Ever since then, judges have been paying special attention to the competitor's glutes. Of course, the only way for Gaspari to show off those glutes was with low body fat, and according to him, he was somewhere between 5 and 8%. He still has those numbers at 50. Talk about impressive. Number 2. Tom Staniford. Not everyone with low body fat has a six-pack. Meet Tom Staniford, an English paracyclist who has almost zero body fat. At 6'3", Tom weighs about 134 pounds. However, for Tom, this isn't an intended outcome. Unfortunately, Tom suffers from MDP, a rare genetic syndrome that stops fatty tissue from being stored in the body. There have only been 100 or so documented cases so far. Apparently, a mutation in the POLD1 gene leads to the condition. Complications of MDP include low testosterone, hearing loss, and low muscle flexibility. Tom suffers from the same set of problems. His muscles get stiff when he's cycling, making everyday tasks grueling. And on top of it all, he suffers from type 2 diabetes. Still, despite the difficulties, Tom has continued to participate in international paracycling competitions and even won the British National Paracycling Circuit Race Championship in 2011. Talk about an inspiration. Number 1. Frank Zane. Frank Zane is one of the only 3 bodybuilders who've had the honor of beating the well-renowned Arnold Schwarzenegger at 5'9" with 190 pounds. He may have been smaller than most competitors, but his muscles were definitely leaner and better proportionate than theirs. This is why he was able to snag the Mr. Olympia title 3 times in a row. Back then, Frank was called the Chemist, since not only did he have a bachelor's degree in science, but also for his use of substances during his workouts. The latter wasn't as common in the 70s. With all those measures, Frank's body fat came down to an insanely low 6 to 7%. Alright, which of these transformations shocked you the most? Would you ever want to take such extreme measures for the perfect body? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to TRENDJOINT, and we'll see you in the next one.